I'll introduce you, and you can just say hi.
Great. That's the best news ever.
Yeah, we're hoping short and sweet. Just a quick sound check. We will begin in about 5 minutes. If you are here, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. We're going to start in about 1 minute. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're going to go ahead and begin as it is 6 p.m. So thank you for joining us for the Strongsville Middle School seventh and eighth grade honors mathematics program. Before we begin, I'd like to do some introductions. I'm sure you've received quite a few emails from me. My name is Lauren Scotta, and I am the K-12 Gifted and Testing Coordinator. So it is wonderful to be able to be on here today and say hello. I am going to turn it over to Mrs. Erin Green, who is our Director of Curriculum, to say hello.
Good evening. Just to echo what Lauren said, thank you again for spending the time watching it either live here or after the fact. Hopefully we answer all your questions, but if not, we are all here to reach out, give us a call, email us. We'll be glad to help you out.
Great, thanks so much. And then we have Mrs. Jessica Boyton here, who is our Strongsville Middle School principal.
Good evening. Thank you very much for being here, to all of our parents and for chiming in when you have the chance. And thank you again to Mrs. Scotta for presenting this to all of you this evening. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. And then we have Mike Scott joining us tonight, who teaches at Strongsville High School, and he's also our department math chair.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. And then we have Kim Scott, who is also joining us tonight. She teaches at the secondary level and also works and supports our secondary math teachers. So this evening, we will not be having a live Q&A at the end of the presentation, but at the very end, we will provide email addresses that you can connect with if you have any specific questions in regards to your child or in regards to any of the mathematics programs that we are talking about tonight. Now, this will also be recorded and it will be available on the stream, and I will email it out to you as well. So if you want to go back and rewatch it, or if you didn't have a chance this evening to join us, you'll be able to see it that way. So we are going to begin with a little bit of criteria. So this presentation is for our families of students who qualified for grade 7 or grade 8 in an advanced or an honors mathematics program at the middle school. So this includes the 7th grade advanced pre-algebra course and 7th or 8th grade students who are enrolling or qualified for the Honors Algebra 1 program. So to begin, we're first going to talk about advanced pre-algebra, which is for our grade 7 students. So students who are entering advanced pre-algebra, you're most likely in Honors Math 6, and they must have earned an A or B average as of the end of the 3rd quarter. If your child is in Honors Math 6 and has a C, D, or F average as of the end of the 3rd quarter, then the math teacher, will be completing an input survey for your child. If you're unsure of what your child's average is, please reach out to your child's math teacher and they'll be able to share more information on that. So in regards to the rubric that your child's math teacher may need to complete if your child has a C, D, or F average in their 6 honors math class. So this rubric considers your child's grades, their class performance, state and district assessments, teacher input, and the IAAT results that they recently completed. So the IAAT was the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test that you recently received results from. So if this is your child, you will receive the results of that input survey that the teacher completed by the end of the school year, which will share the placement of your child for the upcoming school year. In order to be enrolled in the Honors Algebra 1 for students that are in grade 6 that are going into grade 7, a student must have scored a 174 or higher on the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test that was recently taken. For Honors Algebra 1 for students that are in grade 7 that are going into grade 8, they must have had successful completion of Advanced Pre-Algebra 7 or a score of 166 or higher on the Algebra Aptitude Test that was taken in 7th grade. So that information was recently shared with you. So additionally, students that are coming from Pre-Algebra 7 with a 166 or higher IAAT score, they must complete something called the Bridge the Gap program, and this will occur over the summer. So it is an online curriculum that helps bridge that gap for them to ensure that any missing pieces are filled before they begin the program. So that information for the program will be shared with you and your student before the end of the school year so they can begin on it in the summer. Now here's a flow chart. I know it's kind of overwhelming at first, but it goes along with our math progression. So this is also included in your student's handbook, and then it is also online as well. So if you want to take a little deeper dive into it, so it can be found under our curriculum website. The expectation is that students will continue on their accelerated math pathway once they have started. So if you look here, you can kind of note where your child is going to be or where they are. And you can see just denoting from the arrows of where they'll continue to move. So again, students are expected after they've entered the accelerated pathway that they would continue along that as they go through their math trajectory. And then once they get past 10th grade, you can see that a lot of options are available. So if you consult with your child's school guidance counselor at that time, they'll be able to provide more course offerings. And you can see here, there's a couple options like AP statistics, some college credit plus classes that they'll be able to talk a little bit more as your child enters those grades. Next is something called a written acceleration plan. So we have something that's called a transition period because we know that this can be an adjustment period for students. And we want to make sure that we ensure them the transition period to make sure that they are feeling comfortable and confident in their new math placement, especially in the accelerated program. So students in their first year of their placement will receive something called a written acceleration plan. And their written acceleration plan goes a little bit more in depth as to what the acceleration that they're currently in will outline. The students who are on a written acceleration plan are provided the opportunity to opt out of the placement by the end of the first semester or midterm, whichever comes first, if it's determined that it might not be an appropriate fit for your child. So at the start of the second semester, the placement is really considered permanent and the student will continue on their accelerated math pathway. We do provide information and make sure that you're well aware of this from the curriculum department, and your child's math teacher is a great resource too to kind of see how your child is doing in that class to see if during that transition period and before it ends that it is an appropriate placement for them. Now, as we move on, a few things to consider for the math pathways and the acceleration. So the ability to drop a course is only applicable to a student in the first year of an accelerated placement. And this includes students in advanced pre-algebra, students in honors algebra 1 in 7th grade, and students in honors algebra 1 in 8th grade who did not take advanced pre-algebra in 7th, as those are their first year of that advanced placement. After the midterm in the first year of the accelerated placement, no drops are going to be permissible in the current year or the following year of the accelerated placement, as it is expected for your child to continue on that accelerated math pathway. Now we're going to delve in a little bit to some expectations in regards to our accelerated math courses. So first up is to talk a little bit about advanced pre-algebra 7 at Strongsville Middle School. So students that are in 7th grade or going into 7th grade advanced pre-algebra will have the course curriculum, which is a compacted 7th and 8th grade curriculum with students completing the second half of 7th grade. Your child already in 6 honors completed the first half of 7th grade during their 6th grade year, and then they will complete the entirety of the 8th grade curriculum as well during their advanced pre-algebra 7. So advanced pre-algebra 7th grade students will also take the 8th grade Ohio State test. And then those students will naturally progress to honors algebra 1 in 8th grade and that course is considered a weighted high school course. So Advanced Pre-Algebra 7 at Strongsville Middle School. So just continuing. So Advanced Pre-Algebra students must earn a 70% or higher in their mathematics course to remain in that advanced mathematics pathway. If a student in advanced pre-algebra does not have a 70% or higher at the end of the first or second 9-week grading period, they may be moved into the Pre-Algebra 7 course for the remainder of the year. And your child's teacher will ensure that they're helping to support them and providing that information to you along the way. Something to note, once students complete a full semester of advanced pre-algebra, they will be expected to continue into that Honors Algebra 1 the following year, which is that weighted high school course. So Honors Algebra 1 at Strongsville Middle School. So students who have qualified to enroll in Honors Algebra 1 by earning that qualifying score on the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test, they those students given to all students in the Honors Math 6, and then students in traditional Math 6 or Pre-Algebra 7 may also be recommended by their teacher to take the IAT for consideration. If you're on this meeting, your child did take the IAT and they have, if that's their pathway, have qualified for Honors Algebra 1. So Honors Algebra 1, again, is a high school level course, and all grades earned will be included in the calculation of their high school GPA. And then satisfactory completion of summer work is also expected to enter Honors Algebra 1 in 7th grade, or if they're entering in 8th grade from Standard Pre-Algebra 7. And again, the summer information of the courses are going to be shared with families by the end of the school year, and that course curriculum, again, will also be virtual during the summer. Some considerations to think about. So Honors Algebra and Honors Geometry are high school level courses. The grades earned in these courses will be reflected on the student's high school transcript and will also count towards students' final high school GPA. Once entered on a student's high school transcript, these courses and grades cannot be removed. So a lot of information to be thinking about, but we want to make sure that we are forward thinking into your consideration of your child's math pathway and their trajectory on their acceleration. So in order to help us a little bit more with this, Mike Scott, the department chair at Strongsville High School Math, is going to hop on and share a little bit of insight for us.
Hi there. Thank you. So, when an incoming 7th grader who is accelerated in math is trying to make a decision about what math class to take in 7th grade, obviously the most important consideration would be what makes the most sense in terms of being an appropriately, on the one hand, challenging, but also appropriate, like in difficulty level and not being necessarily too overwhelming for a student right now in the present. With that being said, it can also help provide some context to the choice a student is trying to make, to consider what sorts of avenues are open by making certain choices, what sorts of avenues will be open to a student when they're in high school. So I just first wanted to point out that any student who is considering whether to take algebra in 7th grade or wait to take algebra until 8th grade is already a significantly accelerated math student. That is, if a student decided to wait until 8th grade to take algebra, they're still really accelerated in math. In fact, a student who takes algebra in 8th grade would have available to them by the time they become a senior in high school a class called AP Calculus BC. AP Calculus BC is the equivalent of the first 2 semesters of college calculus. Um, I, I looked it up, and there are going to be around 4 million high school graduates this year, and in the USA. And out of those 4 million, only about 125,000 will, if this year's like last year, will leave with AP Calculus BC. That's around 3%. So what I'm trying to say is anybody who's a part of this meeting is already on a significantly accelerated track, because even if they wait until 8th grade to take algebra, they're in line to take care of 2 semesters worth of college calculus in high school. So that's really accelerated already. So the decision so much isn't whether to accelerate. That's already happened. The decision is whether to become like hyper accelerated even among the accelerated. That is, someone who would make the decision to take algebra in seventh grade is making the decision that they want their endpoint in high school math to even go beyond this 3% of the population AP Calculus BC. Um, just to give you some context, when the idea of all of this started about, gosh, 20 years ago or so here in Strongsville, of allowing students to take algebra in seventh grade, the intent was that students who would opt for this are the kinds of students who would be um, like woefully underserved by having to wait until, say, eighth grade to take algebra. Like the boredom for them to sit in a math class that was only somewhat accelerated would just be too much to handle, so that we owed it to these students to give them something that would be a little more appropriate in terms of challenge. Uh, and historically, over the years, I would say an average of about 15 or so students in every graduating class ultimately ends up doing the thing where you take algebra in seventh grade, and then you end up taking that calculus class I was talking about in 11th grade, then making it available for that student to take something even beyond those first 2 semesters of college calculus when they get to 12th grade. And what we have for that kind of student is a semester of multivariable calculus, which is like college calculus 3, and a semester of linear algebra. Those are both college credit plus classes offered in conjunction with Cleveland State on campus at Strongsville High School. Anyway, I don't mean to get into the weeds too much on that. I guess just what I'm trying to say is uh, all the students who have this decision to make already are math rock stars. Everybody's accelerated here. Everybody's going to get through 2 semesters worth of college calculus in high school, which is outstanding, amazing. So kind of the decision to enter into seventh grade algebra instead of eighth grade algebra is one that, you just want to like really think about, like, hey, what's the goal here? Where is it that I want to get in my high school end game? And if where you want to get is this college credit plus multivariable calculus linear algebra, uh, then that's a great option. But at the same time, if hearing things like that by the end of high school, if that seems kind of a bit overwhelming, and if you also like reflect and think, yeah, right now that sounds like that also might be a bit challenging for the current placement, uh, then probably taking algebra in eighth grade is an appropriate option. We've got all kinds of students, and so we try to serve them all in their own unique ways, and try to, as much as possible, allow students and parents the autonomy to make these kinds of decisions. But again, I just wanted to come on to try to give some context for the end game in high school of the decision that you're making. So thanks for listening. Sorry if I was rambling there or whatever, but thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I think it gave some great insight and considerations to really think about as you're thinking forward for your child's math trajectory as they continue on. A few more slides. So just getting ready as you're, starting to conceptually consider what your child's going to do. So fourth quarter, a lot of class preparation begins in order to really ensure and prepare your child for their upcoming accelerated course in the next upcoming school year. You can see here just a little bit of information as far as some materials that are needed for the different APA or Honors Algebra 1 course. So information, and then a little bit more as well as the summer work for students. So again, General Math 6 that is going into APA, and General Math 7 students going into HA1 kind of goes over a little bit about what the summer coursework is going to cover to ensure that we bridge those gaps or fill those gaps before they enter into their accelerated placement. So it'll be an online adaptive math program and must be completed by the start of the school year, because we want to ensure that all students are really starting off on the right foot And then that detailed information will be emailed to you before the end of the school year to make sure that you have that for your child to be able to begin in the summer. And then lastly, just finding the right path, what works best for your child in their math pathway and their trajectory for their future. So we know that this is a lot of information, and we really appreciate your time this evening and sharing it with us. So it is an important decision. We want to make sure that you have time to consider and think about it. So we want to definitely provide your child a challenging math curriculum that meets their needs. Please feel free to reach out below to any of us with questions that you may have in regard to your child. And then additionally, you will be receiving a consent to enroll form via Adobe Signatures to your email, indicating if you'd like your child to proceed or not. So this will be emailed to you within the next week or so. It'll also share information about, in case you have any questions about which is your child, did they qualify, or are they continuing on to the advanced pre-algebra course, or are they going into that honors algebra 1? So that'll be included in that consent form that will be emailed out to you as well. And then you'll be able to check the box that meets your needs for your child for their upcoming school year. So again, thank you so much for your time this evening, and this will be recorded and shared out with you in case you'd like to watch again or if you're watching for the first time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.